The question is, do you agree that Scotland should be an independent country?
For me, the principle that we work best when we work together.
Well, they didn't.
Very serious. The referendum. It seems to me that they're not dealing with the issues.
Hello, welcome to Scottish Independence podcast number 34. This time is a little bit different. We've got a lecture from Robin McAlpine from the Reid Foundation, where he outlines his vision of the Common Weal for a new independent Scotland.
This is the time I've done this today, so I like to manage to get through it, not keep repeating myself like a drone by just making up as I go along to the different audiences that I'm with. So I'll try and see if I can make this interesting for you all. I'll talk for 20-25 minutes, which will turn into more like half an hour at the very least, and then if anyone wants to, feel free to jump in and interrupt as I'm going through, but then I'll just stop and you can ask questions whenever you want. So, this is my question. Is this okay? Is this as good as it gets? We're living in a society, and I need to chuck out a couple of facts here, which I don't think people understand. I was talking to a disabled group this morning. You know that Britain has the highest level of poverty among the disabled in Europe. Not Greece, not Spain, not Italy, Britain. Highest level of inequality other than Russia, Turkey and the US. This is the only way we can become a more unequal society, is to turn into Turkey, Russia or the US. This can't be as good as it gets. Surely it's not as good as it gets. What do you think people earn in Scotland? Because I've been doing this all over the place and nobody gets this right. The average salary in Scotland is £24,000. The median salary in Scotland, half of the population earning less than this, is 21,000. Now, when I come to talk to people and I say, what's a decent salary? What would you call a decent salary that you can live on these days? And people say, 25,000 to 35,000. You can pay your bills. You can shop. You're not going to be in massive debt if you look after your money. You're not going to be permanently worried about economic security. 25,000 to 35,000. You're not rich. You're not buying overseas properties. You certainly don't have a tax consultant. That seems like a reasonable number. Of the people who are working in Scotland, the ones with jobs, only 1 in 5 working Scots earns between £25,000 and £35,000. 3 out of 5 working Scots don't even earn that. 1 in 5 earn more than that. And very quickly, of course, that ramps right up to earning a hell of a lot more than that. Now, if we've got people in this country who are all working, and I mean, I forget the Tories, I don't even want to hear their bleating voices in my ears, because there's a hell of a lot of us that are working hard, and we're not getting on, and we're not striving, and we're not successful, because they're completely on. In fact, I'm going to quote something here. I was watching, catching up on all the episodes of Waking the Dead, and DCI Boyd, who I greatly enjoy simply for his rudeness, is interviewing a guy who's an immigrant. And he's been here for 6 or 7 years and he's driving a BMW. And he says to him, where'd you get your money from? And he says, I came to this country and I worked hard. And he says, now I know you're lying, because nobody in Britain got rich from working hard. And that's true. This country is not a country where you get rich by working hard. This country is a country where you work hard for your whole life and you get through in tax credits. It's not good enough. Now what's the problem with that? If we've all got jobs and we're not in the brew, is that no fine? Well, no, it's absolutely not, for this one simple reason. The only way that half our population gets by, makes it through the week, is benefits. Benefits keeps us going. And the cheek of it is that somebody tells you that these benefits are a benefit for the people on the benefits. They're not. These benefits are benefits for those employers that don't pay a wage to let you get through the week. I mean, it really is that simple. The idea that these neoliberal market economists tell you is that the market will fix everything because the market's always right. Well, the market can't be employing people in salaries they can't survive on. They would die. They would starve. It wouldn't be possible. In their theory of the markets would correct to pay them enough money. In reality, Gordon Brown says, I tell you what, you keep paying the poverty wages. We'll give them a wee bum on the side. We'll then make them feel guilty about it, because it's not a bum to them. It's a bum to the employers. We'll make them feel guilty about it, and then we'll start to complain about how our public finances aren't any good. So we put a paper out last week or the week before, I forget. You check it out on the website. We're answering the question. You want a good society, you need to pay for it. We do need to pay for it. So, is it unachievable? Is it beyond us? Well, here's a simple measure that just puts it into perspective. See if we took our labour market and we got the number of people into work that they have in an average Nordic country. And we then got the pay to be distributed in the way that they do in an average Nordic country. The spread of income, reduce the inequality, so the spread of income is the same as those Nordic countries. And you remodel our income tax, without touching tax rates, without raising tax rates at all, we would generate £4 billion extra in tax revenue, just because the best way to make your taxes good is to take a larger proportion of your national wealth in wages. People pay taxes, corporations dodge taxes. So, the way to get a situation where we've got the taxes that'll work, that'll pay for the society that we want, isn't just to ramp up taxes, and it isn't to worry and fret and cut back the services so that we've got the money. It's to stop having a low-pay society. And it's that simple. That's the Common Weal story, in a nutshell. It is really that simple. If you can create a decent economy, and my God, we do not even have a sniff at a decent economy. If you can create a decent economy, it'll create good jobs. Good jobs make people wealthy. Wealthy people pay their taxes. Decent taxes make strong public finances. Then you can afford the public services that create strong social cohesion. And that's what you want. That's what you want. You want a society with strong social cohesion. Because one of the things that the Common Weal project is very keen to do is to say, this is not a Cameron, Britain, us and them thing. It's not a Thatcher, us and them thing. It's not even that playwright, us and them thing. We've got to stop talking about Scotland's future and us against them. We're a wee country of 5 million people. It's all of us. All of us. And that's one of the messages that I'm very keen to get across. Because to be honest, a lot of the stuff, which if you come down to, we are a think tank. We are an academic think tank. I deal with a board of top-flight academics who make sure that everything that we put out is absolutely rigorous, which is why I'm going grey. But that's important, because we're coming from the left, and if I tell people this is what we want to have for our nation, you know we're going to get shot at, which is why, unlike some of the right-wing think tanks, everything that we do has got to be absolutely solidly backed up all the way through, so we make sure that we always do that. But that means that, of course, we're dealing in complex economics. Why is the public sector counter-cyclical? We'll come back to that. This is not always easy to explain to people, because to be quite honest, our grasp of economics isn't brilliant. So how do we find a way to phrase this? And this is what I really want to get across about Common Weal. This is the overwhelming thing. There are different philosophies via which you can live your life and you can run your nation. We've got Britain. Britain's only got the one philosophy. And Britain's philosophy is conflict. Whoever is strongest must be best. Whoever can win at whatever cost must be the best person. Cherish the wealth creators. You heard that one? Cherish the wealth creators, because they're the people that create our wealth. Are they? They're the people that are stitching push-up bras in China, because that's where the value in our economy is created. And this is an important thing. The value is created by the people that take thread and make it into cloth, and then by the people that take cloth and make it into clothes. The important question is, where is it realised? Because they ship it over here, and they realise the profit over here. And how did they realise the profit? By whoever it is that drives those goods to the depot, and it takes it from the depot to the shops, and gets up in the morning and stacks the shelves and sells those goods onwards. That's who realises the value. And where did they realise that value from? Our pockets. We're supposed to be glad that the retail economy that we've got creates a few low-paid jobs. Where did they get the money to create these low-paid jobs? It's not coming from outside. They're not bringing money into this country, they're taking it back out again. And that's the reality of the economy that we've got. We've got an economy which is based on two things: fleecing us and a sort of complicated carousel approach to money and economic development. We've created money that's so cheap in this country that all you have to do is make tiny, tiny profits and then borrow it again and make tiny, tiny profits, pay it back, borrow it, make tiny, tiny profits. Our money is so cheap that the last thing a sensible person would want to do is invest it in long-term productive industry, because that can take years to pay off. Why take years when you can gamble it and get the money back in hours, minutes sometimes? So we've got this economy which is predicated on the City of London, making a lot of money and keeping the public finances just about surviving through a scam. It's not real productive economic activity. And then, to keep the rest of us in jobs, we get a wee bit of money back from our own pockets in the retail economies that dominate a lot of our towns and communities. Bluntly, half of the country. Now, why is this such a bad thing? Because, as I've started off by saying, everything that flows from that is what you would expect. You have, we're lucky in Scotland. We are genuinely lucky in Scotland. We've got a Scottish Parliament. It helps to keep the worst of it just at bay. You look at, for example, a period when London grew by 35%. The City of London, its economic growth was 35%. And over that same period of time, South Wales grew by 3%. We talk about better together. We're not together. We're not one country as it stands. Britain, and this is a surprise, this is one of the many surprises that I've had as I've been kind of picking this up and learning it and doing the policy work. Britain is now the most geographically unequal country in the developed world. You can argue a little bit about that, maybe second, just possibly third, but that's what we're talking about. The spread of income in this country is so disproportionately biased in favour of one small geographic area that almost everybody's a loser. And that was the big lie. That was the big lie that Thatcher sold us. Me first. If we have me first, it'll help us all. The simple truth is that me first let every one of us come in second. And that's the reality of the economics of what happened. There is an alternative way to do this. It's about talking, once again, about all of us first. Let's put that philosophy back on the table in certainly Scottish politics, and I hope for the sake of the people of England, one day in British politics, all of us first. Because let's compare and contrast Cherish the Wealth Creators. And I just, quick recap, there are certain people, they are better than us. We know they're better than us because they've got money. Money is the thing that proves that someone's better. So if we can just identify whoever's got the most money, hand the whole country over to them, because they're the best people, we'll get the best outcomes. That's how Britain's been run for 40 years now. Well, certainly 30 years. Since the mid-70s that started to kick off, and Thatcher just nailed it all. Brilliant. Let's compare and let's contrast with a country who can be proud of its social statistics. And it's all bunch we can pick, but for this one I'm going to pick Norway, because in the middle of what we call the financial crash, in which Norway shrugs and calls 2009, the Prime Minister of Norway phrased an alternative vision for how to build an economy. His alternative vision was as simple as this: to build more, we must share more. Now, I'm not going to do a lot of heavy economics tonight, which I can do, but I'm going to give you an analogy to give you an idea. Now, this is about efficient distribution of resource over the productive economy. But I'll give you an analogy because it makes a lot easier sense. I don't know if anyone here is nursery school teachers, but if they were, and the aim was to get as much built out the Lego as possible, would your approach be to allow the biggest kid to shove the other kids out of the way and hoard the Lego? Because what we know is that becomes a game about hoarding the Lego. How much Lego can I get? How much Lego can I keep after the other rains? That's what that becomes about, and that's the British economic model. If you want to get something actually built, what would you do with the Lego? You spread it more evenly across the class. Some of them will maybe hoard it, but a lot of them will build something. Now that, in a very sort of loose way, is the idea of a Common Weal model for social and economic development in Scotland. If we can have a more effective distribution of resource across society, it doesn't just have a lot of beneficial social effects. The work, I'm sure you've heard people going on about the work in the spirit level about the impact of equality. Almost every single thing that you want from your society performs better if you have lower levels of inequality. Almost everything. Everything from mental health, general health, economic performance, social cohesion, levels of unemployment, levels of crime. Literally almost anything becomes better if you have a more equal society. But this is the remarkable thing. When you have that more equal society, there are all sorts of things that happen that you might not imagine, such as straightforward, roaring economic benefit. So, who are the competitive economies? Low tax Britain.